All right, guys, what is going on? Welcome in. So, look, football is finally back. Okay, tonight it's kicking off. Houston Texans at the Kansas City Chiefs. I could not be more excited to watch this matchup. So let's not waste any time. Let's hop right into these Week 1 game picks. First game, like I said, Texans at Chiefs. It's going to sound cliche. I'm going with Kansas City minus 9.5, right? You look at the Chiefs, not only are they just the former Super Bowl champions, of 2019, but they're such a safe bet when you look at them. I mean, they're stacked at pretty much every position on offense. They have their coaching staff figured out. They're such a safe team, such a safe bet as we go into 2020. On paper, they are the best team in the entire NFL. When you look at Houston, to me, they're the biggest anomaly in the NFL. I mean, yes, they did acquire David Johnson. They made a couple of solid offseason moves, but they did lose DeAndre Hopkins. I just don't know where Bill Bryant, what's the vision, what's the identity for this Texans team. I like Houston. I mean, they were a playoff team last year. They got a playoff victory against Buffalo. They're a nice, solid team. I just don't know the identity. And for them to be going to Kansas City to kick off the season on primetime, I'm just going to go with the Chiefs. Yes, it is cliche. Yes, it is conservative, but I definitely feel a lot more safer picking the Chiefs than I would the Texans. So moving on, NFC North matchup, 1 o'clock, Green Bay Packers at the Minnesota Vikings. Vikings minus 2.5. I'm going Green Bay. Okay, not only are you getting the 2.5 points, but I really like Green Bay's matchup when you look at the quarterback and wide receivers against the depleted Minnesota Vikings secondary, but specifically the cornerbacks. When you look at the offseason moves or offseason losses that the Vikings endured, I mean, Xavier Rhodes is gone, Mackenzie Alexander is gone, Trey Waynes is, all three of those guys are gone, and all three of those guys were, quality pieces for the Vikings defense, and all three of them kind of, dipped in production last year. They weren't the best guys, obviously. That's why they moved on from them. But at the end of the day, you got a rookie that's going to be out there, Jeff Gladney at corner. You look at the reports coming from Green Bay's camp with guys like Alan Lazard coming along, Scantling coming along. You already have Devontae Adams. I really like this Packers offense as we kind of head into 2020 going up against this Vikings defense. Now, something to note, the Vikings did acquire Yannick Ngakoue, so it will be interesting to see how much Mike Zimmer will just let him go and just kind of let him off the leash and just, like I said, unleash him, because he is somewhat of a newer member to this Vikings team. But as we, head into week 1 with no preseason football, I feel like the Green Bay Packers are more of a solid unit, plus they're getting the points. So moving on, Seattle Seahawks at the Atlanta Falcons. Now, and also Atlanta's getting 2. I'm going to go with the Falcons here. I definitely kind of wanted to shake things up a little bit. I think Atlanta's being underrated a little bit as we, move into the season. I love the Seattle Seahawks team. I really do. Russell Wilson, you can make the argument he's the best QB in the league. Yes, we have Lamar Jackson, and yes, we have Patrick Mahomes, but if you put Russell Wilson on the Chiefs, it's debatable, right? It's debatable. This Seahawks team is well coached. They seem to get so much out of every single player on the defense as well. Nice young wide receiving room. I like the Seahawks team a lot, but I feel like in Atlanta, in the Dome, Dan Quinn, these guys are going to be ready to roll. They're going to be trying to put up a ton of points quickly. They're going to be aggressive. They're going to be attacking downfield. They added Todd Gurley. They already have Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley. Also traded for Hayden Hurst, who I think is going to have a really solid season. I'm going to go with Atlanta at home plus the points against Seattle. Next up, Miami Dolphins, AFC East, playing the New England Patriots. Patriots minus 6.5. I'm going Patriots. Now, I know there's so much hype surrounding the Miami Dolphins, right? Tua and Brian Flores and, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Fitzmagic, and, Byron Jones, the new offseason acquisition. But when you look at the Patriots, they still have one of the top defenses, if not the best defense in the National Football League. I mean, how can you really feel confident going Ryan Fitzpatrick against that defense in Foxborough? It's going to be tough. Cam Newton, yes, there's so much questions about the Patriots offense, but one thing about Bill Belichick, he seems to get the most out of his quarterbacks, whoever it is, whether it's Tom Brady, whether it's Jimmy G, even, Jacoby Brissett for a little bit. I like the Patriots in this matchup. When you look at just a pure talent standpoint, Cam Newton is better than all of those guys. Again, just pure talent here. It's going to be interesting to see how Bill Belichick kind of works this Patriot system and kind of molds it around Cam Newton's strengths and overall strength and skill sets. So we'll see what happens, but I'm going to go with the Patriots. Next up, we have the Cleveland Browns at the Baltimore Ravens. Ravens -8. I think this game is going to be a lot closer than what the spread is showing. Ravens -8, pretty much a 2-possession game. This one's really tough. I think the Ravens are going to win this matchup, but I think Cleveland will cover. I really like what Kevin Stefanski did in Minnesota, kind of establishing a running identity and kind of building off the run game into the play action game, attacking downfield with guys like Thielen and Diggs. When you look at Cleveland's offensive roster, they are absolutely loaded. I know people are jumping off the Baker Mayfield bandwagon, but I still think he's a really, really solid, young, talented quarterback who's extremely accurate, who is mobile. He can make plays, can extend plays. I think this offense I think Kareem Hunt is going to have an extremely good season. I think Nick Chubb might not have the best season, but he's still going to have a productive one. You're hoping, as a Brown fan, that Odell Beckham and Jarvis Landry, keeps his production the same, and that Odell Beckham can pick it up a little bit. They signed Austin Hooper. I really, really like the direction that this Browns team is heading in. I think the Ravens got this one, but I like the Browns to cover, to be honest. Next up, Philadelphia Eagles at the Washington football team, right? Football team is Washington's +6. I'm going to go with Philly here. I like Washington's decision to hire Ron Rivera. They have a ton of nice young core pieces on the defensive side of the football. Montez Sweat, Deron Payne, all these different guys. Jonathan Allen, Landon Collins is on a big contract. Still have Ryan Kerrigan. The football team is going in the right direction, but as we stand right now, week 1 divisional rivalry, I feel a lot more safe picking Carson Wentz, picking Doug Peterson over this Washington team that's, so much youth, so much unknown, a lot of question marks surrounding the team. A lot of people are saying Washington will be the worst, if not, bottom 3, bottom 5 team in the league. I don't think they're going to be that bad, but again, as we stand right now, week 1, I'm going Philly. Next up, New York Jets at the Buffalo Bills. Bills -6.5. This one's tough. I got to be honest with you. I think this is going to be low scoring, definitely. I know a lot of people out there are saying like Bills 35 points and Bills 28 points. I'm not going to go that far. I think the Bills aren't going to score more than 20 points. If I had to put a score on it, I would say Bills 20, New York Jets 13. So it's going to be right in that range. I'll go Buffalo in this one. I hate doing it. The diehard fan of me wants to pick the Jets, or at least for them to cover, but being realistic, I got to go Buffalo here. Taking into consideration they're at home, last season's kind of production, kind of foresighting or trying to project 2020, all the guys that they added, like Josh Norman, like Stephon Diggs, like AJ Epinesa. I like what Buffalo did this offseason. I'm going Bills. Next up, another NFC North matchup, Chicago Bears at the Detroit Lions. Lions -3. I'm going to go Detroit. Remember, even though Chicago beat Detroit last season 2 times, Detroit never played with Matthew Stafford, right? This team wasn't completely healthy, and yet the Lions kept it close in both games, one of which was on Thanksgiving. It was a fantastic game. David Blau, I remember he actually dominated that game. So, Lions at home, I think the Lions are going to be somewhat of a sleeper team. I have this argument with my little brother all the time, and he just tells me I'm a complete idiot, that the Lions are probably going to be one of the worst teams in the league. But, I beg to disagree. I think Detroit has a lot of solid young playmakers on it, but I think they have a nice mix of veterans and younger players to where they can kind of reach that 8-8, 9-7 point for the season. But in this matchup, I'm going Detroit. I think it will be a little tough for them to move the ball, but I gotta be honest, I just like Detroit in this matchup. Pretty much nothing to it. I think the Bears offense will have a little bit of a tough time moving the ball on the Lions defense, because again, this is just all my opinion here. I do think the Lions defense is underrated. I think people just look at the Lions and they say, yeah, not a playoff team. Every year, oh, no, not a playoff team. If they do make the playoffs, like if it's a rare occurrence, they're just going to get bounced in the first round. But this year specifically, I think everybody's sleeping on Detroit. Next up, we have the Colts at the Jaguars. I'm going to go Indianapolis. And yeah, the spread's super big. I think it's Colts -9. But I just don't see a team like the Indianapolis Colts, a win now team, trying to, really going into Jacksonville and just laying an egg or just completely handing the game over to the Jags, where it's pretty obvious as we stand right now that Jacksonville, I don't want to say that they're tanking because I don't really like using that word that much, but the Jags are young. They have so many young players, so many rookies starting on this team. It's crazy. Doug Marrone, how much longer is he going to last? The Colts are trying to win right now. They got DeForest Buckner, in that first-round pick kind of trade with the 49ers. I like Indianapolis. Next up, we have the Las Vegas Raiders going up against the Carolina Panthers. Panthers +3. I'm going Raiders. I think the Raiders, like the Colts, are built to win right now. I don't think John Gruden wants to win. I mean, obviously he doesn't want to endure another losing season, but I think the seat is starting to get a little warm for John Gruden. If he finishes 6-10 or 7-9 or something like that, I think this is the season where we see major improvement, at least get to that over the 500 lump. I'm going Oakland. Carolina, again, like the Jaguars, a lot of people are saying this is going to be one of the worst teams in the league. A ton of young players, a ton of rookies, especially on the defensive side of the football. Brand new coaching staff, brand new quarterback Teddy Bridgewater. Yes, they have C-Mac, but at the end of the day, the Raiders are more talented. They have more of a veteran presence, and I feel like as of right now, they're better coached. So Vegas all the way. Next up, as we shift to the 4 o'clock games, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the New Orleans Saints. Saints -3.5. I'm going Saints. This is kind of like the highlight game of the week because of all the offseason acquisitions that the Bucs made. But I still feel like the Saints are still a better team. I think the Bucs are going to take a couple weeks to kind of get in sync. I want to say around the week 5, week 6 mark, then the Bucs will start to completely take off. But as we stand right now, week 1, I'm going with the Saints. I think too much firepower on offense. And even though it is -3.5, they are at home. They play great at home inside the dome. I like New Orleans. Next up, we have the LA Chargers at the Cincinnati Bengals. Bengals +3. I'm actually really intrigued about this game because the Bengals are at home. They're getting points with a new quarterback. So many new, this Bengals team, when you look at the offense, a lot of people will say this team is horrible because they finished 1 overall or, with the first overall pick last year. But when you look at the offensive firepower that this team has with Joe Mixon, AJ Green coming back, Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, 2nd-round pick, this Bengals team has the potential to light up defenses. It's just a matter of time, right? I feel like once the chemistry is there with Burrow and all these different guys, that's when we'll see the Bengals offense go from here to here. I like the Bengals, but in this matchup, I'm going with the Chargers because the Chargers, I believe right now, I know I talked about the Lions before, but the Chargers to me are the most underrated team in the league. I'm seeing these mock drafts where the Chargers are finishing in the bottom 5, bottom 10, bottom 12. I don't see that at all. I see the Chargers as an immediate playoff team. I know a lot of people don't like Tyrod Taylor, too conservative, checks it down too much, not willing to take any chances, but I think that's exactly what the Chargers need. Just get somebody in the building that can extend plays, dump the football off, Austin Eckler, Keenan Allen, all these different dudes, Hunter Henry. I like the Chargers. Just don't turn the football over, and the defense will take care of, themselves. Bosa, Ingram, they have Chris Harris. Stacked, dude. Chargers are stacked. Next up, Arizona Cardinals at the 49ers. 49ers -7. I think the Niners are going to win this matchup, but I'm going to go with the Cardinals with the points. I'm going to say maybe a final score of 31-28, somewhere along those lines. I do think Arizona is going in the right direction. They played the 49ers extremely tough last season, and it's going to be really interesting to see an entire offseason, so much time with no preseason games, that Cliff Kingsbury has been focusing on this Robert Saleh defense. How is he going to pick it apart week 1? what's, being conducted, or being created within Kingsbury's mind. He's had so much time to think about it. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. The Niners are stacked. I do think the Niners will win, but I think the Cardinals will cover. Next up, Dallas Cowboys Sunday night against the LA Rams. LA Rams +3. I'm going to go with the Rams. Again, like Cliff Kingsbury, Sean McVay is known as kind of a strategic guy, likes to, really create these complex game plans moving forward. And I think Dallas's defense will be the weak point. Obviously they have a new coach and they have a lot of, they added a lot of guys through the offseason as well. But 3 points, stacked roster, great coaching staff at home to kick off the season on prime time. Big stage. They're used to playing in the big stage. I like the Rams in this matchup. I really, really do. Next up, Monday night game. We have 2 games here. Steelers at the Giants. Giants +6. I think this is pretty much the lock of the week, in my opinion. The Steelers all the way. The Steelers with Ben Roethlisberger coming back. Deontay Johnson on offense. Juju Smith-Schuster. They brought in Eric Ebron. Keep an eye on Chase Claypool. I think he's going to break out this season. Nobody's really talking about him. I really like Claypool out of Notre Dame. James Conner. The Steelers are absolutely loaded. I do think the Steelers will be back in the playoffs, whereas the New York Giants, I'm not so sure. Giants are going to reach the 500 point. So the Giants, to me, not really feeling too good about this game. So Pittsburgh all the way. Last but not least, the Tennessee Titans at the Denver Broncos. Broncos +2.5. First things first, Denver Broncos. I'm sorry about the loss of Von Miller. Devastating leg injury. He's going to be out for the year. Tough break. I'm going to go with the Tennessee Titans, right? Denver's, again, like the Rams, they're getting points at home. Nice young team. But I think at the end of the day, Ryan Tannehill, this Derrick Henry-led Titans offense, they're just going to control the time of possession. They're going to control the game. And I feel like at the end of the day, the Titans are going to win by more than 2.5. So there you have it. Those are the week 1 picks, in my personal opinion. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Also leave your picks down below in the comment section as well. I love going through and kind of reading everybody's thoughts and opinions on, not only just these videos, but every video. So let me know. Thanks so much for watching. And as always, go Jets.